Well, I managed to get the top off of the kitchen cabinet. Took the top off, ripped it off, and then I got the hob, and you can't believe it. This hob was the perfect fit for that top. It just slid straight in as if it was made for it. As I said, luck. Anyway, the day came along eventually. By this time, my girlfriend's left me. I'm broken-hearted. Most perfect girl. Sexy, intelligent. Oh, well, I won't go on. That's another story. So, there I am. The summer's arrived. I've got no money for blankets or anything like that. No sheets. All I've got is the bare mattresses. Oh yeah, I missed out the main part of my story, which is I had to make bunk beds. Now, all over London, to my annoyance, are these 2x4 pieces of wood outside houses with for sale signs on the top. It's the estate agents. They put them up. They put them up everywhere. It's free advertising for them. I've never agreed with it because it makes the place look ugly. The area, all these advertising signs, for sale signs. And then even when they sell it, they say this was sold by so and so, so and so. They keep those things up year in, year out if they can, because they don't get charged any tax. And some of those pieces of wood were not just 2x2. That means 2 inches by 2 inches, which is a square. Some of them was 3x2, so extra thick, extra solid. Anyway, I went around the area and took them all. And I made bunk beds out of them. The first bunk was on the floor, mattress just lying on the floor. Then the next one above that, and the next one you can't have it too high, you see, because people can't get up to the bunk. I had to do it in such a way that they could get up there. And we're talking about girls, not just fellas, girls. So girls are smaller, aren't they? Not so strong. So I had to allow for that. Anyway, the day came when I could get a customer. I went down to Victoria Station because they have a lot of hostels there, private hostels. They have what they call runners. They go around Victoria Station, getting the people with the backpacks, chatting them up and saying, look, we got a really good hostel. Do you want to come in? It's only so and so price. Then they would take them to their van, and they would drive a van full of these hostelers to their place. Now I noticed when I stayed in a few of these hostels, they don't give a good breakfast. The breakfast is so basic: a cup of tea or coffee and a toast. But I decided at the very beginning I was going to give a good English breakfast. If you can set a person up with a good English breakfast, they want to stay longer. They don't want to look for another place. So it was cheap, £7 a night, including English breakfast. What was the English breakfast? Well, baked beans. Baked beans aren't expensive. Baked beans, sausage, egg, fried egg, 2 toast, and also there was marmalade, jam. You could put on your, if you didn't want to eat the toast with the thing, you could put marmalade or jam, and also butter, of course, to put on the toast. And tea or coffee. Oh yeah, also I forgot. Cornflakes with milk. So I went down to Victoria Station, as I say, and I managed to get 2 American chaps, really nice fellows. They were about 19 years of age, very friendly, as Americans are. I love Americans. And when they got back to my place, nice summer's day, the sun was coming through the window, I gave them a key, one key, and I took a £3 deposit That's what I used to do, take a £3 deposit. Plus, I took the money for a night's stay. And with that money, and just a reminder, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. I rushed off to buy some second-hand bedding and money enough for breakfast. That's what I did. That's where all the money went when they gave it to me. Went on their bedding and breakfast. Next day, they liked it so much, they stayed. I think they ended up staying about 3 days. And by this time, I'm using their money every day to get more bedding for the rest of the mattresses. Before I knew it, I had that place full up. It was so full, in fact, I couldn't use one of the beds. So what I did, I had a cupboard. I knocked the there was a bit in the middle of the cupboard, a thin bit of wood panelling, and I knocked that panel out so it would be long enough for me to sleep in there. And as I said, serendipity follows me, and I found some sponge thrown away, 2 pieces of sponge, and I just put them in the cupboard, so it made a proper length mattress, very comfortable, and I slept on that. So I was making good money at the time. It was hard work, but it was fun because I got to meet a lot of people and I got to choose who I wanted in the place. And I found at a certain time of the year, you get certain nationalities coming over. The Americans were the start, and then you had the Italians and the Germans, and it just went like that. It was very good. They were beautiful people, intelligent, sophisticated, boys and girls. I say boys and girls because we're talking about people around the age of 20. I was in my early 30s at the time. And because I was in charge of everything, I could set the mood, I could set the standard of the place. So everyone who came in was introduced to everyone else. So it was great. It was like a party every night. Everyone chatting away and friendly, and some of them no doubt had sex. I know I did, occasionally. I had sex with one of the girls. I'm not religious, so there's no problem with sex for me. Sex is not dirty and disgusting. It's in the mind of those people who say it's dirty and disgusting. I find it rather innocent. The way I look at girls is from an innocent point of view. So I'm quite shocked when I hear working class men call girls slags and things like that, because I don't see girls who want sex with men in that way. I see them as being excellent. What better woman can you have than a woman who loves men? Because I'm a man. Anyway, back to my squatting days. It was a great success. I had lots of fun meeting lots of people. Sometimes it did become hard work. Sometimes, because we're talking about luck here. I was down at Victoria Station trying to get people. Sometimes I was there all evening. I couldn't get anyone. No one at all. And I go home, back to the hostel, fairly dejected. There'd be people there still, but I want a full hostel. Other times it got so busy I had to even rent out my little bed in the cupboard. And then it got even more busy. I had to rent out the floor in the kitchen floor. It had a door on it, the kitchen, so after 11 o'clock that door would be shut and the 2 people could sleep on the floor, or I can't remember what I did as a mattress for them. Probably just I'd probably put down something like a sleeping bag. That's good enough softness for a person to sleep. But yeah, it was great fun. In fact, when I think about it, the small bedroom wasn't big enough to put all the bunk beds in there. I had to make two of the bunks in the front room, and I put a curtain up to separate it from the rest of the room. So that was 6 people sleeping in the front room. 2 on the floor in the kitchen, 1 in my little bed, and you're wondering where I went to sleep. Well, by this time my mother had moved out of her council flat, been put into another place, council place, and I took the council, I squatted her place. As soon as she moved out, I squatted it. So I went to stay there, sleep there. In fact, it got so busy, I must be the only person in the history of hostels who rented out half of my bed in my mum's council place, which I was squatting. I had a double bed there, and I rented it out to this girl, half of the bed. And I didn't come on to her sexually or anything like that. This was a business thing. But the next day we sort of got together, and we ended up having sex. So that next night she stayed for nothing. But yeah, it was great fun. It was a roller coaster ride. My whole life has been a roller coaster ride. It really has. Ups and downs. You never know where my life was going to take me next, especially with squatting. But what happened eventually? The winter came along. And I think it was the second week, let me see, August, September, October, July, August, September. Second week of September, it suddenly goes dead. There's no more tourists. They've all gone back to the universities. And I needed to make money. And that's when I got the idea, if I brought the price down and charged them on a weekly fee, I could fill all the beds. So I put an advert in the paper and filled the whole place. I think I was getting about £200 a week. I think that was clear. I can't remember now. But I used to pay for electric and things like that, for electric showers. I used to put my own electric showers in. And when it was a hostel at the beginning, all I had was a bath with a toilet and a wash basin, all in the same room, this small little room. And I had to separate it because you can't, when you're desperate for a toilet, you can't wait till someone's finished their bath. Well, I had to stop them using the bath by simply putting it, I think I stuck an electric shower in there. And I put a curtain around the part of the bath, only part. I put a curtain around so they could have a nice shower. And at the same time, I put a thin piece of wood around the toilet with a makeshift door. So a person could be on the toilet, another person could be having a shower, and of course the basin was there for anyone to use. And it worked. When you've got people when you've got people on the same level mentally, it's like family. It becomes so. There isn't a problem with sharing things like that. And the boys and girls would sleep in the same room. Go to bed in the same room. So anyway, let's fast forward again. I'm renting the place out because it's winter, so I'm renting it out to... so what happened was, one fella turned up called Franco, Italian fella. He was, I think, 17 I think he was, 17 years of age. Turned out he worked in the Ritz Hotel as a waiter. I liked him. You when you meet people, you know if you like them or not from the very beginning, and I liked him from the beginning. he was so easygoing. So I said, yeah, you can move in. You can move in now. I know, I think I said to him, when do you want to move in? He said, now? Oh, yes. I said, sure, yeah. Just bring your luggage. He said, I haven't got any luggage. This is all I've got. That's all he had, the way he was dressed. And he worked in those clothes. That was his work clothes at the Ritz Hotel. And he was an amazing fellow, actually. He was a genius. He had a brilliant memory. He told me that he never had to study at all. He would just get the relevant book, leaf through the book, and certain passages would just jump out and he would memorize them without even trying. So he was a straight A student. He had a brilliant memory, but as I said, he went beyond that memory. And he taught himself, instead of going from one side of the page to the other side of the page, he was just going straight down. And once he taught himself to do that, he said he taught himself to read both pages. Again, he's not reading every word. It's just certain things are jumping out and he's memorizing them without trying. So he probably could get through a book in the time it takes other people to get through the forward of a book. But even though he was a genius, and this is interesting, because we look at geniuses as being terribly, terribly intelligent. And I was a dunce at school. In fact, my spelling and grammar is so bad, thank goodness. not thank God, but thank goodness that we're lucky to have Google and their spell checker. So he was immature. He was a genius, but immature. Whereas I'm an idiot, but I'm mature. Eventually, after a few years, he... I must tell you this about Franco. We were squatting one place because every time I moved from one squat to another, he would follow me and become a tenant of mine. He was always paying his dues because he was always in work. But he brought home knife and forks from his job at the Ritz Hotel. And I said to him, Franco, how can you do this? The police might find it and you're going to go to prison. Or, well, get nicked at least and have a prison record. And he said, don't be silly. No one's going to find these knife and forks in the drawer of this old kitchen in this squat. It's true, because in all that time, I never had trouble with the police coming into my squat and searching it. Well, unbelievable as it might seem, I don't know what it might have been a few months later or so. For some reason, the police came around and they barged their way into my place. And one of them opened up the drawer in the kitchen and found those knives, the cutlery. And I was shocked. And Franco was shocked as well. Well, thank goodness he was a decent fellow, the policeman. He said to Franco, he said, I won't nick you if you promise to take these back. So he did, he took them back. That is unbelievable. But I've been talking enough, so I'll leave it till next time. See what other stories I have, eh?